Pranav is coming on board, or
Yeah, I'm here.
Rahul is here. Okay, great. Okay.
Hey, we cannot hear you, Anirudh.
We can't see you also.
I can see Anirudh, I can't hear him.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and we're live now, guys. All right. So good evening, everybody. This is the third session with Ronnie for mentorship excellence that we're having. Thank you, Ronnie, for joining us today.
Great.
We have 5 people on board today with us: Rajesh, Pranav, Rahul, Tarun, and Anirudh Kishan will be joining.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Ronnie.
So so first we'll be starting with Rajesh. I'm just going to mute you guys, the rest of you guys for now, and we can go ahead further as discussed earlier.
Go ahead, Rajesh.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I had posted 2 questions. My first question was that we are in this business of exporting spiritual products, which is a huge line. Now, my question was that we have been working along with Francorp and Franchise India, and now we are basically we are making a marketplace for our products and services, which is we have a brand called Omkarmic. Now, my question is that because we have been working with Franchise India for quite some time, and they are offering us a good deal for offline stores as well, which will be supporting. Which we will be supporting through our website also. So just wanted to know, is it a good idea to do it simultaneously, or should we wait for the offline stores which we want to open up at some point? So my question is it a good idea to do it simultaneously along with the online platform which we are trying to create, or should we wait for some more time?
And this is for India, or this is for global market?
Of course, my marketplace is for the global market, because at this point of time also we are.
So just some quick questions. You started by saying that you're doing this, you're exporting the whole spiritual part. So, so just give me the list of products or what? It's books, cassettes, DVDs. What is it?
Sir, there are a lot of rosaries which are used in Hindu religion, Rudraksh rosaries.
Okay, so products, basically products.
Yeah, products, and of course we are bringing in some services. But later on, but right now it's the products.
Through the franchisees. This is also through the franchisees.
Sir, right now we are selling it through different platforms, like Alibaba. We are exporting through eBay. We have got some stores.
Okay. So you're not doing it through franchises. You're doing it through platforms.
Platforms right now. Okay. And now we are creating a marketplace for the products.
Right. So you have got a specific proposal from a franchisee to open offline stores in which country, or which countries, or India?
It is in India right now. There's a company called Franchise India, and they have a partner called Francorp.
And what is your presence in online in India? I mean, what revenue of your percentage revenue comes from India versus the rest of the world?
So at this point of time, unfortunately, the revenue in India is negligible.
Okay.
Because our business is coming through exports only.
Got it. Is your price in India going to be lower than the export price?
Of course, sir. Of course.
It is. Okay. Yes. Okay. What is your main objective? Is your objective to increase awareness? Is it to increase revenue? Or at the end of the day, your first and most important priority is to maintain your profitability margins? And the reason I'm asking that is because that's, I think, going to be an important criterion. So just give me a little bit of sense on that.
So this will be something like scaling up for us, because we have been using different platforms, and our market at this point of time 90% is in unorganized sector, and the pain point for the customers here in India also is that they don't know where to buy these products. There is a huge demand, but the problem with the people buying it is the reliability of the product, the quality, and assurance from a brand at least.
Yeah. No, so I would say off the cuff, having understood what you've now said, I think it makes eminent sense for you to actually do offline along with online. Is it absolutely simultaneous? Will you have started offline before online, or will you have started it simultaneously, or a little after?
Yes, that's my
No,
question. So
when is your online platform launching?
sir, we are planning to go live after I'm finished with the upgrades. We have already started on the
Okay,
website.
so say February or March, you're planning to go online, like on Flipkart, Amazon, Snapdeal, like that, or on your own platform?
No, sir, on our own platform of Omkarmi, where we already have around 300 to 400 vendors from whom I buy.
Yeah.
From the
And so last question. And this offline, the franchisees is shop and stop, or they have their own shops in which they will put your product? And most importantly, will they run your brand? Will your brand be exposed in the offline?
Yes, sir. Offline, definitely franchise India. They're going to charge a huge lot of money to promote get the franchisees on board, and of course they are going to use our brand.
So I think straightforward, I can tell you it makes great sense to do it offline. And I'll give you one example where we actually push that. We're a significant shareholder in a company called Lenskart. I don't know whether you heard of them. They sell
Of course,
specs
sir.
online.
Yes, sir.
So Lenskart, I think the key learning for us was that spectacles for most people is something you buy once a year, once in 2 years, and there is still a strong touch and feel. So while most of it, including fashion, sometimes even furniture, has become very impulse buying, specs is still a evaluated buying, and the conversion rates were low, and though all our business was coming from online. Then we decided that we will go offline, and in the last 1 year or 9 months, we opened about 100 franchise stores, and these were actually Lenskart stores, not even shop in shops.
Okay.
And we had an army of 200 people going house to house to do free eye checkups, and then you can convert that, and you don't have to. It'll be free if you buy a product from Lenskart. And our conversion ratios there was 60%.
Wow.
The rub off on the brand was incredibly positive, and 2% on television and online, and 60% conversion offline, conversion cost. Your cost of acquisition of a customer, the CAC, was like 1/100th of the online one, and it's been extremely advantageous to them.
Okay. So we can always. Your suggestion is advises. We will go full.
I can't see a downside. I really can't see a downside. And when you can't see a downside, it's a good way to go.
Thank you, sir. My question is answered, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So then there is one more question. Am I allowed to ask the second question also?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, Tarun. Just a second, Ronnie. Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, Tarun. I'm guessing you just came in online, got disconnected. Yeah, so you're muted. Ronnie is on again. And Rajesh, please, for a second question.
Thank you, Anirudh. Yeah. Mr. Ronnie, the biggest question nowadays is whether a mobile app or a website marketplace. So we are contemplating, because though we have already started on the website.
So which one are you contemplating?
Good quotations for the. Sir, whether we should go for the both, or should we go for one or both?
See, my sense is both. I think the only mobile is being very hyped up. Given the target audience and the people that you're doing and you're selling with, and it's in such an unorganized sector, I think there's no harm in. I think I would recommend that you do it with both. I don't think it's a question of no harm. It would be a strong recommendation to go with both, because you want to reach and create a large demand, and your cross section of people are one, where they will be on PC, they will be on mobile, both.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rajesh. The next person on board is Pranav. Hey, Pranav. Can you please unmute yourself?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. So just to give you an idea first of perhaps what I'm doing, working on, as my questions would suggest, I'm sort of working on getting an incubator up and running in Mumbai. So we're kind of going through the process of creating an entire back-end operational structure. So the first question that I sort of had was to do with that. Considering the sort of stage of enterprise that we're looking to incubate, or the companies that we're sort of looking to bring in, because they're very early stage, perhaps between ideation and just after proof of concept, what are the most important factors that we should be like honing in on, whether it be team, whether it be idea? Because what we've done is we've obviously got our variables in place in order to source efficiently. But what, according to you, do you think are the factors that we must concentrate on looking at those stage of enterprises moving forward?
I think three things, and in the topmost order would be you've got to be able to have your skills honed in on your quality of the entrepreneur. And I think so. Entrepreneur first, idea second, and the size of market third would be the three things. My sense is the disproportionate importance to the entrepreneur. My sense is that as an incubator in the beginning, you may not be able to get a good sense with one or two interviews. And I would suggest that, keep an installed capacity where the people are clear that if they're there, I'm just saying for 6 months or a year, maybe you want to do like a freemium model that most people call it, for example. I'm just giving it as an idea, where you can have a lot more people who you think are on the borderline. You couldn't make out after 2 meetings or 3 meetings whether this entrepreneur really make it. And you tell them, look, you're not in, but I'm giving you a 1 month period. In that 1 month, you'll be here, I'll be here, we'll get to know each other more. I'll be brutal about the thing at the end of 30 days. If it's not working out, I won't. And then if it is, then you're my incubator after 30 days. And maybe given where you are at right now, I would strongly recommend that model where if you're planning to narrow down and have 10 people, maybe have 25 in the beginning and break up the space even more. And just have that whole model of a 1 month screening. Because it's not a screening, you'll get to know the entrepreneur, you'll get to know the team, you'll get to know their thinking. You'll be able to see them in different moods, different stress points in 30 days. And also talk more about the idea other than that first and second meeting, and you'll have, I think that's if you really want to see it that way, and then you'll know in 30 days whether this is someone you want to give a permanent seat or he's off. And I think it's important that you're an incubator and you need to inspire the entrepreneurs that come there. So watch out that you communicate to them and set their expectations really right. That guys, at the end of 30 days, I'll have to be brutally honest and tell you, no, that does not mean that your idea is bad. That does not mean you're going to fail. That does not mean you're a failure. But I've got an installed capacity. I'm taking 3 times my installed capacity with my eyes open, that I'm going to shrink it down to 1. And I think that should be great. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So coming to my second question, as a successful entrepreneur like yourself, somebody in your position, what would be one of the attractive features of an incubator that would perhaps even put your thought in the direction of like being in a strategic relationship or being attracted to a certain kind of conveyor belt of surviving companies? Because what we're trying to do more than anything else, everybody wants the next $1 billion idea or the $1 billion idea, but for us, the most important thing is bridging the survival rate of startups in the ecosystem and the idea of creating sustainable businesses rather than every single business being the top winner. Obviously, I mean, it's not possible to do that.
Yeah. So what's your specific question?
So my question was, as to a successful entrepreneur like yourself, what attracts you to perhaps tying up with a certain entity that could be,
at that very early stage, it's going to be about what they're coming for, and they know what an incubator is. Part of it is, for some it'll be networking, for some it'll be just saving 6 months of overhead costs, for some it'll be that a great angel investor or multiple angel investors will walk and I get funded. So those are actually your low-hanging fruit. Whether you communicate it or not, that's what people are coming for, and I think that's what you need to remain stoic about. What I think is, if you have one USP that you can deliver on in that first tranche, and that becomes your great word of mouth, that will be your standout feature for attracting the next round and the next round and the next round of great people to come in. And I think you'll have to pick what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with saying, actually, in technology, I've got a team that's going to add a lot of value. Or genuinely 50% of my guys did get funding because my networking is an example. It's going to really depend on your strengths. Okay. And then let the word of mouth go on that. Yeah? Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Pranav. The next person is Rahul. Hi, Rahul. Can you please?
Hello. Hi, Anirudh.
Hi, Rahul. So, your question next.
Okay. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi.
Uh, Ronnie, I have sent the question. I fill up the questionnaire. Do you want me to
No, I need you
read?
to say it because it's very important how you communicate it. Just a
Okay.
print is not going to help me. I think it's important how you
Okay.
communicate.
So what we are doing right now, I have created a company called Page Number,
Mm-hmm.
where we want to become a one-stop product solution for education institutes.
Mm-hmm.
And initially in phase one, we are entering in Raulkela market, which is in Odisha state, as a reseller of academic book, notebook, and stationery to affiliated ICSE and CBSE schools in Raulkela via physical store and online medium. Now, one online medium is one of the advantage which no other reseller is providing in the market.
In that geography, not
No,
in the whole.
not only in the geography, but in the entire India, it is one of the core advantage because nobody is doing that in education sector.
Yeah.
The other thing is on the board we have Mr. Ramesh Agarwal, who is into this industry from last 45 years. So we are getting a complete knowledge on how this industry work, and we are framing out things on that parameter. But currently on the technology term, we have outsourced our web development contract to a party, a web
Yeah.
development company.
Yeah. Yeah.
My question is, as a business model, we are focusing right now on getting the contract from education institute, and that is our core focus right now. So we have outsourced our web development uh, entire project to a team,
Yeah.
business house.
Yes.
So at what moment we should start developing our own team for web development, because the model has to evolve eventually over a period of time.
Yeah. I
And if
think
we
I understand that, and actually, this is a general challenge for a lot of startups, and it can be sometimes because they're in different locations, whatever else. And I think it's a combination of two, three things, but mostly I would say the time at which you are finding the response time from this external party not savvy enough to be updating your products, and it's slowing down your critical mass or your growth and your expansion. That is definitely one time you should do that.
okay,
Obviously the normal time is when you can afford to do it, you should do it, but that I'm not telling you anything new. But I think the timing of, if it can work for a good period of time and you're sitting in a different place, it's helping you two things. You're actually sourcing better people than you'd be able to find in your geography, and secondly, it's allowing you to focus on what you just said you want to do.
yes,
So it depends on whether it works or not. And look, working requires a different criterion because most people feel, now, if this was a technology, this is not working, that is not working. If you had your own technology team, would you have the same problems or not? And I think part of those problems would be there even if you had your own technology team.
yes,
So I think you have to, when the times at which it's not working, question yourself that that's not the reason to flip it inside, because you may still have the problems because people are people and mistakes are mistakes and learning is learning time. And therefore, maybe because you're working with an outside source, you will have to find a little bit more time to communicate with them much better, to involve them in your weekly updates, and you have a call with them and you update them that, look, these are some of the situations, and then this is happening, and if I had just this user interface, then this would have happened from that perspective. And lastly, I think, the data that they're collecting for you is yours, I hope, and not theirs, and therefore that is fully yours and protected in that context.
yes,
So while I would say when you can afford it, but that's a simple answer, I think the answer is till such time on a continued basis where you feel that they're not being able to cope with the demands you have for what you want to do.
okay. Ronnie, my other question is like, on the online medium of academic books, our minimum weight of the book set would be from 3 kg to 10 kg. Now, when I have talked to certain logistic partners like delivery and all, the costing of delivering that entire package is around 200 to 300 rupees or 500 rupees. For a startup, that is a huge amount to invest on that parameter. So could we get an idea like what sort of negotiation has to be kept in mind with the logistic partner for
I
a
don't think
startup?
it's a question of negotiation because if you got 6 books, they're heavy, right? And you want them
Yes,
delivered the next day. My question to you would be, how important is it for your customer that it gets delivered the next day?
it is. because
Why?
the academic sessions start within a
I know,
week time. But
exactly. But the pre-planning, most people
yes,
with pre-planning can pre-order a book. So if you're going to spend
yes,
200 rupees, I'm just saying that if you told people that if you order 7 days before you need it, I'm going to give you a
okay,
cash incentive, would that help people?
yes,
So that's one way to look at that. Because frankly, I'm saying if I'm going to start a course, I know 15 days or 1 month before I'm going to start the course. So why
yes,
should I order it such that one day before the course, I'm ordering the good? Now, there'll always be that 10% of people who will order it in the last day. But I think in your business, you should encourage people that when you're starting the course, order your book 7 days before and get $50 off. I'm just saying, just as a idea. I think if you can get people to get into a habit that you can send it through that company, but not by air, but they can do it on a 3-day basis, that's the time to negotiate. Because if it's that heavy and if it's got that weight, the 200 will come to 175, 180, but the point is it won't drop to 100.
okay.
So for 100, you need to change the mode of transport and the days of delivery, I would think.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but one of the challenge, Ronnie, is like once suppose a education institute is starting in the month of March,
Yes.
then a education institute would give the book list to the student 1 week before the education start, the academic year start. Like on the day they declare the result, they will hand over the book list, and then they are given specific instruction that from these particular resellers you have to buy the books.
Yeah.
So it is a very structured
It is a very structured
process.
situation. And they
Yes,
need all the books on day one for all the classes?
yes, everything has to be bought thoroughly. It is
No, I
compulsory.
understand they need to be bought, but do they need it all on day one? They're given 7 days before you said, and then the course starts. On
Yes,
that first day of the course, do I need all the books?
yes, everything has to be bought by one because the school make it compulsory in their
I
academic
understand,
fees.
but you're buying it for them and you're delivering it, right? So from the school,
Yes,
you picked up the delivery to deliver it to him anyway, right?
yes,
Now the question is, can you deliver 2 books instead of 7 at one go and deliver the balance 5 after a week? Will that work?
that will not
Not
work
work.
because
Okay.
yeah.
So now, okay, so then just coming to a couple of other kind of options, I'm just kind of thinking through. So what is the total, what's the package? I mean, how much is this freight and transport and logistics costing as a percentage of your total selling price? Like 200
Around
rupees is what percentage of the whole thing?
the minimum book set would on an average from class wise is differ. If it is below
No, but give me a
nursery class,
range, no? Give me a range.
yeah, a range would be around from 500 for a primary school. For a mid from first to 8, it might go to 5,000 rupees, and from 9 to 12 it would be around 4,000 rupees.
And what's your margin in that?
Margin, that's a question on how every school contract factor is there.
No, but do you have a 10% margin, a 5% margin, just a ballpark margin I'm looking at?
20% is around there. 10 to 20% is there, but if I decline my cost and all, it would end up around 10 to 12%.
Right. And your
Yeah.
shipment is to how many cities normally? Where are you shipping to?
In first year, I'm only catering to local market. That is my entire focus. Right now, we are not even going beyond Raulkela because we want to
But then
test
why is
this
it costing you 200 bucks?
because the book set is cost around 5 kg to 10 kg.
Right. And
So
how many
that
are
is
you
where
delivering? How many are you delivering? How many? What's your
of
quantity?
quantity would be around like we have got a contract of around 10,000 students. So we are
In
expecting to
Raurkela?
in Raulkela. There is a market of 60,000 students in Raulkela itself, and we have bang on around 10,000 students in Raulkela.
I think if it's local and whatever else, I think you should start at about 75 to 100 bucks and see where that goes, frankly. Because if it's local and whatever else,
Yes.
um, but you see, I think the other part is have you checked with some local people and not these national chains?
Yes, I have even talked to Indian Post and the local people.
And what is the local costing?
The local cost per kg is around 30 rupees, 30 to 40 rupees.
Right.
So that is where it is
And
getting a decline.
this delivery happens over a specific number of days, is it? Or is it seasonal or it happens regularly and ongoingly? I mean, or is it
It's
just,
regular.
No, is it just during the month of June or is it round the year?
Are you asking about my particular business?
Yeah,
It will happen in the first from March to April. That is the peak
March to
season.
April. March to
Yeah,
April.
but
So even if you were
what?
to get freelance people for that 1 month, would
Yes.
you be able to do it for less than $200?
Now the challenge is, getting the freelancer. If I
Of course.
get a freelance,
Don't worry about the logistics. I'm saying
okay,
if you could, if you
yeah,
could,
okay,
would you be able to do it at less than $200? Because I think that's your negotiation. No, if you because otherwise you'll price everyone out of the market. I think if the general going rate is 30 rupees per kilo, then
yes,
the price should be at 150 rupees. Because you're asking
yes,
for 10,000 and you're asking the same city, you can definitely ask for another 15% discount, I think. So you might
yes,
land in the 125 to 135 range,
okay,
which I think, given your 20% margin on a range of 4,000, 5,000, and 1,000 rupees for the book sets, is
okay,
a good thing. And I don't think you'll be able to do it cheaper.
okay. And
Uh,
one of the, sorry,
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
one of the main question, Ronnie, which I wanted to ask, when I did my entire research, I figured out there are multiple players like resellers in the market, but everyone want to do online business, but they don't have the capability. So what we were thinking, either we are testing this thing as a physical store and online medium, but if this thing doesn't give us the maximum return which we are thinking, we would want to become an online player for everyone, for all
Yeah,
the resellers.
yeah.
Would that make
I
sense?
think it would make sense. But what is your delivery mechanism for online?
Then
It's all online. You
what?
just download it and study online. And if you want to print it, you go print it yourself.
No, we would take up, we would start giving premium services for printing. We would tie up with printing printers. We would tie up with logistic people, and we would give entire support to all these resellers and
I
schools.
think it makes complete sense to go online because the minute you get out of one or two cities and go into a national basis,
Yes,
you'll have to do that. Otherwise, it's going to be you're not going to be able to scale. That was my only last question I was going to ask you. That you're not going to be able to scale. So I think
yes.
you can't scale without online. So the simple answer is yes.
Okay, thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you. Thanks.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul.
Thank
The
you.
next person on board is Tarun. Hi, Tarun. Can you
Hey,
please?
Taran. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Go ahead. Go ahead, Taran.
Okay. I want to know the fundraising business is very less in India as compared to US and UK and other foreign markets. So, how do you see it growing in India?
Yeah, why don't you talk to me about your specific? Well, what you're telling me, it's almost like a statement. It's not really a question. I don't think it's that. I don't see the US is a 13 trillion economy. We're a 1.9 trillion economy. So don't compare the two because if there are $100 billion coming to this territory, you don't know whether it's enough or not, and we're very early stage. So this whole generic context, I would not get all worked up about. Is there enough capital for India? I think there would be for deserving ideas. I think the difference between an evolved market like the US and whatever else is you'll find that the business plans and the entrepreneurs that come also, some of them have failed and moved forward and whatever else. The plans are a lot more competitive and a lot more evolved. And that's why people chase money from them. Second, they're very ensured about a market. Today, here, we are a growing market, but there's no insured market. Ye hoga, wo hoga, and then we all kind of clamp up. So that's why you're not finding that kind of money here. But I think for the deserving candidates and for the people who can make their case, the money is available, number one. It's available in the right tranches in the beginning so that once you can prove that your model is scalable, then you'll get more money. So on a generic basis, I would not get worried about it.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, because I was working for a US firm like for the consultancy, and it's in the fundraising web applications. So there I saw how the flow and how they go about it.
Yes.
So is it a good area where we can move ahead in future?
No, what do you want to do? Be specific about what you want to do because you're asking me two generic questions.
Okay. Mhm. Yeah, so my question is I want to implement a platform where people can people will be able to shop, and then they will get some they get the same value that they will be redeeming on other platforms, and by this I'll get commission, then I will distribute that into fundraising um, uh, NGOs and charities.
So taking out what you will distribute your surplus from, I think all I want to say is this, the number one thing in this business is credibility, what you're about to talk about. Credibility is absolutely important as the intermediary, right? Because if you're just the connecting person, the platforms now that have grown like Let's Venture and all that are doing this, where they're introducing people, they've got investors on one side all lined up, and they've got smart entrepreneurs on the other side, and they do a lot of homework and a lot of value add. So one is, what is the credibility you bring to the table? So that when an investor comes in, they'll want to know whether you screened or you haven't screened, and do you have the infrastructure for that? And second is, are you going to do homework on every company that's pitching so that you can add value? And that's not an easy business to do, and it also puts a lot of pressure. So what's your USP? Otherwise, many people are doing that. The intermediary business is not that easy, because at the end of the day, when people want to know each other, they'll get to know. If they're coming to your platform, the main point is, if your platform is where all else fails and I come to your platform, then your quality is going to be bad. Nobody will get funded over a period of time, and none of the investors will come there thinking you're not screening it. So you've got to get into credibility, you're going to get into screening, and you've got to put your level of this thing. If that happens at scale, you have a business. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
That's what you need to think about, I would think.
Right. Okay. And so my next question is it ethically and legally right to think about raising funds in a business way, like where I get commission and I get 50% goes to the NGOs and 50% for the business, so that we can scale up?
I didn't get it. So why would 50% go to an NGO? What? So funding from who? An investor is going to put $100,000 into an NGO and $100,000 into a business. Sorry, but I'm not getting the question.
Okay. So the thing is, so people will come to our platform, they will purchase some kind of coupon or thing, then same amount they will get, and they will shop on the sites like e-commerce site Flipkart and Snapdeals, and on that they will use coupons, and then get 5% will come to us. Out of that 5%, I'll distribute 50% to the NGO that was selected by that.
Again, I think if I can be blunt, the two are quite distinct. Do you have a model for your 5%? Because people are going to figure that out. They're not coming to you more because, oh, you're also doing charity. Are you doing charity so that you can attract customers, or what are you doing it for? Because what you do with your money is up to you after you do it. Are you doing this NGO because you want to, because you just think more people will come to you because 50% of the business, 50% of your profits is going to charity? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, I don't think as a sales approach, that's a long-standing approach. You got to give a very good service, and then that's that. I don't think people are going to figure out that, it's fine going to book my show and saying, for every PVR ticket that I'm going to buy for $200, 1 rupee will go towards saving a child or, educating a child. That's different because it's right up there. You're still buying the ticket, whatever else. I don't think people are going to come to your platform versus somebody else, or where the convenience is there, because now 2.5% is going to charity, which I don't know much about. I'm not involved with that thought process. I don't even know what NGO you're talking about. Credibility very low. That's my personal view. Yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Tarun.
Yeah.
We have a new entrant into a thing, Lakshmi Rayana, but you will be going after Anirudh Krishan, the next person on board. Anirudh Krishan, it's your stage now. Can you please unmute your mic and ask your question?
Hello, Ronnie. Am I audible?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
So we have a hardware startup here. We enter the field of dentistry currently. So the industry as such is capital and labor intensive, and we are trying to produce manufacturing machines that will help empower dental labs to basically make crowns and bridges, right? So right now the issue is that with the working capital that we have enough funds to complete the prototype, complete a functional prototype, and probably receive a patent. But that's it. So what do you think should be the way forward? Should I be approaching angel investors or a VC, or what should be my game? Because
yeah, no, I got it. So just give me a little bit of sense of what are these machines costing in retail afterwards?
Right. So as of now, the cost of machinery is around 1 crore, the entire setup.
So you're expecting dentists or dental people or dental companies or dental dentists who want to extend that by making these bridges, whatever else, to spend 1 crore rupees to have it in their place?
No. So it's not dentists; it's dental labs.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But who is your customer then?
Dental labs.
Yeah. Okay. To make the bridges and whatever else, right?
Correct.
What's the size of the market? How many do you plan to sell in year 1, year 2, year 3 in the best case scenario?
So according to a market research report that I looked at, there are around 5,000 dental labs in India.
And right now they buy their equipment from?
Sorry?
Right now they buy the equipment from where?
They buy the equipment from companies like Sirona and Dental Spy, and they're basically importing all these machines.
At what cost?
At there are 4 or 5 machines, so the entire setup would cost them around 1 crore. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to come up with a machine that would probably cost us around just 5 lakhs. So we'll be having a subscription-based model where they would have to basically give us 3 lakhs per year. So for the dental lab, of course, there are a lot of benefits, because right now it takes about 8 to 9 hours to make one particular crown, and in us, it'll just take half an hour. And moreover, we are employing a zero-waste technique because we are employing 3D printing.
Well, if you tell me what you're telling me is true, your market should be the world, not India, frankly, if you ask me, because that sounds like you're breaking the sound barrier when it comes to this concept. Because if everywhere else it's 5 machines and 1 crore, you're creating 1 machine for 5 lakhs. If it's really true, and it's a bridge that will last and not a bridge that will have a problem. I mean, I'm assuming you got the credibility on that right. You should be looking at this as a global product.
Absolutely.
And I think you make this 10 sales over a certain period of time after your demo product, and you're in the gravy, because you won't get to know unless for 4 months they tried and make those bridges there and whatever else.
Absolutely. So what we are planning right now is
I think you need to look for an angel investor right now. I think VCs would be excited, but you don't need that kind of money, because you don't want to get diluted so much, right? You need 50 lakhs per crore right now if your cost is 5 lakhs.
Exactly. So when I talk to a couple of angel investors, just introduce them to the concept, most of them, ask us for traction. So when I tell them, traction is not really possible, because one product itself costs around 5 lakhs to produce. And of course, the returns are like high, because you can sell it for 12 to 15 lakhs.
I think they're being polite, if you ask me. I think they're having a problem on believing you that if machines like this are available at 1 crore everywhere else, what the hell are you doing for 5 lakhs? So make 2 or 3, put them in. I would suggest that you can stretch and ask an angel even for 10, 15 lakhs and not more, and don't go for 50 lakhs also. Make 1 or 2 more machines, put them in those 2 dental companies, dental labs for 1 month, and get on with that. I think that those 2 dental labs say that, my God, I've never seen anything like this before.
Right.
I don't think angels are going to ask you any more questions.
All right. So just to reiterate what you're saying, so best way would be to basically try to make another 2-3 products and pilot it with the dental labs, and then go ahead and.
And this is on my premise that everything else in the world is available for 1 crore, and you cracked it at 1/3 the speed on a lease rental service, and you can make bridges and caps and crowns by renting a machine for 3 lakhs a year. So I would suggest that if that's what you are on the brink of pretty much of a great market. Don't waste your time waiting for money. Just pick up the next 10 lakhs, make those 2 machines, put them in for 30 days, 60 days in these 2 labs.
Right.
And if what you say is absolutely true, brilliant.
All right. Thank you. And this is regarding the one more question. Yeah. So because we are into 3D printing, so basically we have the capability to come up with any kind of product. So just to give you some idea, right? Recently we came out with a artificial hand, for 550 rupees, which is pretty cheap. And of course, it cannot be compared with the bionic hands, which cost 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs.
Sure.
But it's capable of performing all the core functions that you expect.
And I think for a country like India and other emerging markets where the cost of prosthetics is very high.
Very high, exactly. So right now we are in talks with the organization behind Jaipur Foot, which is in Rajasthan. Jaipur Foot is one of the largest organizations for artificial prosthetic products. So how do you think I should, so we're going to come up with more products. We are asking questions like how can we make villagers in rural India self-sufficient? How can we improve the very different questions, like how can we improve the customer experience of someone who walks into a supermarket. So we'll be coming up with more products and prototypes. And how do you think it would be how do you think I can take it forward, and how I can monetize on these prototypes?
No, I think at the prices which you've talked about, again, both is revolutionary, if you ask me, if that's what you're doing.
Correct.
My simple advice to you would be, focus on one thing and make it work for the next 3 to 4 months before you go with the next one, because you don't have the money, yet you got all these brilliant ideas. You're saying you have this great technology that is something nobody else has discovered, and if it's true, I don't think 3 months of lack of defocusing will make a difference. Finish your dental part first and then go with this. Do you want to do both together?
Yeah, so when the research on there's a lot of research involved in the dental thing. So making a hand or something, it's just coming up with the design and coming up, because 3D printing is such, you can basically experiment with it. And we have already a prototype on the artificial hand, and it is on par with the ones that's made by Stanford University and MIT. But we are in talks with Jaipur Food right now. We have a meeting on.
But and I think that's what you need. You need one association to pick up 30, 40, 50 of them. You go out and put testimonials of them and put them online.
Correct.
Don't waste any money marketing right now, because it will find itself a great market once you sell it. There's no question about that. And the best way is, again, 30 days of somebody using it and coming back with testimonials.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have last one.
Thanks, Anirudh. It is the last one we have. Lakshmi Narayana, please. Hi, can you please unmute your? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lakshmi, we're not able to hear you. You're not audible. Hello? Hello? Can you hear us? I'm sorry, there seems to be an issue with the thing, with your mic. Okay, you're typing it.
So what's happening?
There is a bit of an audio issue, but he is just typing in his question. So his question, Ronnie, is what are the key technical expertise required to enter an e-commerce market?
Sorry, you're cracking up completely yourself. Just can you say what are the?
His question is, what are the key technical expertise to enter into e-commerce, since he's in the service industry?
Key technical what? Equities, what?
Expertise.
Expertise to enter the e-commerce if you're in the what service?
Since he's in the service industry.
That's a pretty broad question to answer on a Google chat right now, to be honest. Yeah. So, but I presume you can hear me, right?
Yeah, he can hear you.
You can hear us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I think, again, I'm caveating it by saying it's a very, very general question to get into on a Google chat to figure out what's the broad expertise. I think the very fact that you're in a service sector, it helps a lot. There's no question about that. It really depends on what segment and what classification you're going to get into. So I think if you can just post as to what service sector are you in and what segment of e-commerce do you want to get in. And third, most important, why? Why? Is it just the glamour that everyone's getting to e-commerce and getting funded and you think that's a larger one? Because then you might be chasing something where you think the grass is greener on the other side, which I can tell you 99.100 times it's never. So presently you're in the civil and architectural thing, sure. And what e-commerce do you want to get into?
Presently, here's an civil.
Yeah, I saw that. I read that. Now we have a go. Sorry. So what do you want to do in e-commerce? Can you repeat that? What do you want to do in e-commerce? We want to make it digital. You want to make your present the civil part of it digital. Ah, okay. Similar to ZapFresh. Okay. Okay. I think that's fair. And I think what you want to say is you want to take your service business more online and market it as an e-commerce business. Is that basically what you're trying to say? Yeah. So I think that kind of makes sense. And I think you should actually, because I think from what I've understood there, the expertise is really about if you built. This is not something where you need to go out and market it in a broad sense. It's much more. It's a specialized field. If you know your customers and you know where your target audience is, because you're offline right now, you may not be able to target this all India. And I think you want to get onto online, digital, and e-commerce because you want to go on India. So two things, I think. One is how are you going to make your product, which is going to be right now well understood offline, what is it going to lose when it goes online, and how are you going to substitute what the loss is to people. So you're sitting across a table or you're sitting across something and everyone gets this evolved product or service. Now you're giving it online, so it's a little bit more commoditized. And you need to be careful that is it something that can go online and it won't get compromised and people will feel, what's going on here in the first place. So I think how are you going to adapt that service of yours so that it can be received online and get the same value for money that people have done it with you offline. And you need to give that a thought. Which I think you'll be much more capable of doing because you know your product. So if you were to figure out that this person is not sitting in front of me and I need to get this done, and obviously connected with that is there's a lot of after support, so it's not one-off. I'm presuming that there'll be follow-up that you do on a service like that, and therefore how will you do that online and service your clients? Second question I think you need to answer is it at scale? Can you do this at scale? Or will it be such customized that by the time you start doing it online, it's going to be a problem on that? So the third part is that if you can identify the consumers, I think it's more a direct sale approach than a mass approach. You can promote a little bit on Facebook or whatever else, but I think that yours is such a specialized business that you can find out where your customers are and who are these people. And then you reach out to them directly. I would not recommend you spend too much money on marketing. And I would say for the next 6 months, try it out. If you think there are 10,000 people like that, focus on the first 500 and do a whole, not pilot, because it's not a pilot actually, but do it for 500. See how much of the 500 want to come back to you. You convert them, 50 of them want to understand more, 10 of them want to transact with you, and 5 go forward. I think in that 6 months, build a pilot around this process where you have learned how to communicate what you otherwise do very well offline, online. How will you do after sales service or whatever else you want to do online? And what is the conversion factor for every 1,000 people or 500 people that you go out and meet to convert them to actually start doing transacting business with you? And obviously, I'm assuming that payment collection will not be a problem because it's a little bit of an evolved high-value service, so you can ask them to send you a draft or you can use one of the payment gateways. But this is not one of those retail things where payment gateway is required because I think each one will have its own cost, I assume. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Do you have any follow-up question?
Yeah, we are done for today.
Okay.
For this session. thanks a lot for coming in. Thanks, Ronnie, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hope you have a good evening.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.